for filling our little house tonight. This feels really great. My name is Ada Fitzgerald. I am the proprietor here at Main Street Books and am honored that the Lake Norman Writers reached out a few weeks ago to say, can we put together a Hurricane Helene relief reading? And I said yes immediately, because as soon as we understood the gravity of the situation, we've been trying to help in as many ways as we can, and the more that we have, I think the greater the impact and really just the healing for those of us here as well, I think happens, it just can happen at all together. So thank you all for asking. It is my pleasure and delight to say yes. We are tonight fundraising for Beloved Asheville, and I know that a lot of you have already made donations. If you need help making a donation, let me know. We've got a QR code and other ways that we can help channel the money to this great organization. So without further ado, I'm gonna have Anne come up and open our reading. Thanks.
As Mike goes, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Big thanks to Ada and Main Street Books for just embracing this event immediately. When Gilda and Lisa and I kind of got together, came up with the idea, then we went to Lake Norman Writers and they just embraced it immediately also. And then when we went to Ada, she said, yes, absolutely, splendid idea. And so we just felt like this was something that was meant to be. And I feel like it's really important, as Ada was saying, that we be together in person. We're just in such a crazy time, not just with the hurricanes, but there've been so many weather events, from tornadoes to earthquakes to drought, and then these horrible floods. And not to mention, the crazy times with the election. There's so many wide divides between people. And this is really an opportunity for us to come together and just be on the same page. And I know everybody in the room really, has a heart for the people of North Carolina who've been affected, and all over the Southeast. So thank you so much for being here. And as members of the writing and reading community, one thing we can do is be present and bear witness to the world around us. We can connect through our stories and poems, and hopefully provide hope to each other and those in Asheville and other mountain areas with our words and, of course, our donations to Beloved Asheville. So I'm going to kick off the reading with a poem. The year I was born, Hurricane Donna crossed the state of Florida, where my family lived, did a lot of damage there, and it also happened to bump into North Carolina, Morehead City, where my family happened to move 15 years later. So we were in two places that Hurricane Donna dealt with. And Hurricane Donna is from my collection of the beach poems. Hurricane Donna. Conceived in the womb of the Sahara, where desert winds rose, she created undulations off the coast of Africa in the fertile season of September. You were born in the middle of a hurricane, Mom always said. Mother desert, father ocean, a funnel of warm, wet air churning across the Atlantic horse latitudes, turning with the spin of the earth. Two huge oaks gusted down on either side of the drive, blocking the way to the hospital. Newscasters called the storm Deadly Donna. I never worried, my mother said, low pressure rising and swollen with child. I knew your father could handle it. A blind trust, the kind that blew her in the middle of a war from her New York home across the country to the coast of Washington, spun her to Daddy's home state of Florida, ricocheted the family to the tropics, then boomeranged us back to a little town on the cusp of North Carolina known for attracting hurricanes, where the winds of the storm that had birthed me hit land again before swirling out to sea. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Gilda Marie Syverson.
As I begin this, I'm going to read to you a woman by the name of Dawn Wilson, who lives in Black Mountain, and she was the daughter of our neighbors, our dear neighbors who passed away. And she wrote this on one of my Facebook posts. I'm mostly experiencing inconvenience, doing everything I can to help others. We are overflowing with donations, so your idea of sending money is a very good one. People are organizing to build tiny houses and other shelters to get people through the winter. The amount of help is astonishing. Everyone is so grateful. And I received this on October 16th, soon after the storm. And I was just so touched by people are organized to build tiny houses and other shelters to get people through the winter. And so I have a poem. Autumn 2024. 4 black lanterns sat on a table behind me, lights dimmed, ready for what was to come. Another fall, this time off the stool, at the island in the kitchen where I sat, 1 o'clock in the morning, listening to an audiobook. I fell so deeply asleep my body tumbled sideways onto the floor, hitting the right side of my head, then knee. 3 years ago, I took a spill after entering the hotel room at the 1863 Inn, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where I landed on the eve of Halloween to visit a ghost house. Last night's fall arrived on the eve of Hurricane Helene, who slammed into Florida, Georgia, swirled up through North Carolina, where I hunkered down waiting for the torrential rains to arrive in the season of Hallows Eve, except the plunge caught me off guard, the way life can do without a moment's notice.
My name is Lisa Williams-Klein from Lake Norman Writers, a group that I love. This is part of an essay from my book, The Ruby Mirror, about a time that my husband and I helped our daughter Kelsey with the sunset photography shoot in which we lugged a 7-foot metal wedding arch to the top of Black Balsam Knob, and then a storm rolled in. The clouds had completely surrounded us now. We were socked in pea soup, and we could barely see the floral arch, much less the gorgeous vistas beyond it. We could barely see each other or our hands in front of our faces. Then the rain started. A little drizzle at first, patterns of dark spots on the rocks, the temperature ratcheting cooler so that my teeth were chattering. Still, no Kelsey, no bride and groom. We tried to call and text Kelsey, but the phone service was poor, and we kept getting not delivered messages. Then the deluge came. The skies opened up, and the rain poured down practically sideways in the winds. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed. No one was going to see a sunset tonight on this mountain. We finally got Kelsey on the phone. She was still down below taking pictures of the bride and groom in the Black Balsam Grove, where it was barely raining at all. "We're going to break down the arch and come down," I said. "There is no way you're going to get any pictures now." Soaked to the skin, Jeff and I began tearing the flowers off the arch. It broke my heart to destroy the florist's beautiful work, but there was no way we could get the arch down the mountain without breaking it down. We ripped away the gorgeous blossoms and threw them onto the grass. Maybe someone tomorrow would find and keep them. Then, as lightning streaked through the sky, we broke down that metal arch. As we were starting down, loaded with the arch and bags, Kelsey arrived, and she grabbed my arm to help me climb down the mountain. The rain was coming so hard there were rivulets of water in the path we climbed up, so we were wading in ankle-deep water all the way down. The rain on my glasses completely obscured my vision. I couldn't see my feet. Kelsey was practically dragging me down the mountain, her hand firmly clasping my elbow. "Keep going, Mom, keep going." I was breathless, on the verge of stumbling and soaking wet. I kept turning around to Jeff and saying, "Are you all right?" He was behind us carrying the top of the arch. It was like carrying a lightning rod in a thunderstorm. Finally, completely breathless, we arrived on level ground and in the sheets of rain, loaded the arch into the car. Kelsey insisted on driving down the mountain. Because of the rain, the windows fogged up and we struggled with the ventilation so that we could see as we descended the hairpin curves. Inch by inch, we crawled down the mountain in the downpour. An hour later, we were back on 74 on the way to Charlotte, and Jeff was driving, and Kelsey was checking her camera to see if it had been damaged in the rain. It seemed that her case had protected it. "I can salvage this," she said. And that's the end of the